A family grows apples that they harvest each fall to make into 3 products: apple butter, apple sauce, apple jelly. Okay, so that's going to be our decision variables. How many batches of each? So X1, a batch of apple butter, X2, sauce, 3 is jelly. The 3 limited resources are cooking time, labor, and apples. So that's going to be our constraints. Okay, so our first constraint, they have 500 total cooking hours. Okay, so the cooking hours has to be less than 500. It's 3.5 for butter, 5.2 for sauce, and 2.8 for jelly. So 3.5 for X1, 5.2 for X2, 2.8 for X3. Okay, our next constraint is the labor. Okay, butter is 1.2, sauce is 0.8, jelly is 1.5. So 1.2, 0.8, and 1.5 for our hours. And the farm has 240 hours of labor. Our last constraint will be the apples. They have 6,500 apples each fall. Okay, so they have up to 6,500 apples. And how much does it take for each thing? Butter is 40, sauce is 55, jelly is 20. So 40, 55, 20. Okay, and our max revenue this time, revenue is different from profit. Our revenue makes 190 for butter, sauce is 170, jelly is 155. So 190, 170, 155 is our revenue. And of course, X1, X2, and X3 greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so let's solve. Okay, so X1, X2, and X3 are going to be here in B9, 10, and 11. That's our apple butter, sauce, and jelly. Our revenue equals 190 times X1 plus 170 times X2 plus 155 times X3. Okay, and B9, 10, and 11 represent our X's. Okay, our cooking hours equals 3.5 times X1 plus 5.2 times X2 plus 2.8 times X3. Okay, B9, 10, and 11 are the X's. And the cooking hours have to be less than 500. Labor equals 1.2 times X1 plus 0.8 times X2 plus 1.5 times X3. And that's less than 240. Okay, apples equals 40 times X1 plus 55 times X2 plus 20 times X3. And that's less than 6,500. Okay, so let's go to data. Okay, and remember we come over here and click on Solver. Our objective is in B13. It's revenue. That means money that is brought in, so max. By changing variable cells is always our decision variables. So click B9, 10, 11, click and drag. Subject to the constraints. Okay, let's look at our constraints. Look over here. They're all less than or equal to. So one quick thing that you can do, since they're all the same inequality, what we can do is to say that B1, 2, and 3, drag and highlight, are less than or equal to C1, 2, and 3. Okay, that'll save you a little bit of time. That only works when the inequalities are the same thing. Okay, we still have to add our decision variables, which are B9, 10, 11, greater than or equal to 0. Okay, solve. Okay, that tells us how many batches of each of the three things, and the revenue we'll bring in, and how many cooking hours we'll end up using. We'll use all the hours. Okay, and looks like we're going to have some leftover apples. Okay, so they may try to figure out how they can use those apples. Maybe they can just sell the apples by themselves. And that's the end of this.